Welcome to the Life School MasterClass Show, where 6 and 7 figure CEOs build their purpose driven legacy businesses through proven branding, marketing, and sales strategies so that they don't have to sacrifice their income and happiness for their mission. Thanks for watching the Life School MasterClass Show. Join our Facebook group community of badass mission-driven entrepreneurs, and come back next week same place and time for our upcoming show.
Hello. Happy Tuesday, purpose-driven entrepreneurs. I'm so glad to be back with you. I hope you're having a great week so far. Coming back to you with another amazing guest and show where we'll be speaking about how to empower yourself while transitioning, while you're at a crossroad. I'm sure there's so many people finding themselves, whether you're in a crossroad in your career or in your business or in your personal life, or you personally growing through something. I think that's actually the catalyst for any growth and change as we know it, right? So I have an amazing expert, Yanick Seide, and she's here from our amazing community new member. So welcome, Yanick, to our community. And we're looking forward to learning a little bit more regarding what you do, your work with, how do you actually empower women to do that, and a lot of value that I'm sure you will share with us today. I'm your host, Ilona Lepari, and I'm a high-level business strategist, and I help entrepreneurs, amazing purpose-driven entrepreneurs, grow their legacy businesses through branding, marketing, sales, systems, and team. So let's dive right in. Yanick, welcome to our show. Thanks so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
It's a joy. Let's start with an introduction, Yanick. I love to introduce you to our community here. What is it that you do, and how did you get into the work you're doing now?
Well, what I do, I'm a transformational life coach, and I focus on women empowerment. And my approach is holistic, the woman as a whole. And what brought me there is, when you have an aha moment, and I think the pandemic has also given us some time to reflect. I have a background in adult education, and I was an conference interpreter and translator, a language teacher, and then I went into management. And what I find is throughout my career and my life, there was always a moment where, I felt like I was stuck or not fulfilled anymore. And as life would have it, circumstance would happen that I would have to take a leap. I call it the leap of faith every time. But I realized it's because I was at a crossroad and I needed I was growing and I was no longer fitting. I was no longer in alignment with what I was doing. And throughout my career, I've encountered women who were going through the same thing. So on the side of my desk, I've always was coaching women, helping other employees or other manager clients, or through my volunteer work, because I did a lot of work in women's group. And I saw there was a common denominator, all right? Mm-hmm. And the feeling, I'm only this, I'm only that. We are more than what's on the resume. And I'll share a quick story with you. When I was a younger me, with 3 young children, and I was a teacher at the time, and the job security wasn't there. It was temporary, and I didn't know if I was going to have a job. Anyway, make a long story short, there was an assignment program to give you a new experience. I applied for it, never heard back. 2 years later, they called me, and they wanted me to be a project officer running the program. And I'm going, what? I'm only a teacher. Those were my words when they called me to give me a job. He said, what do you mean you're just a teacher? Well, I'm just a teacher. They said, what do you do? And he started to make me flush out all the skills I had that I didn't realize. And also, you're a mother. Yes, I'm a mother. Okay, well, what do you do as a mother? Well, I manage schedule, this and that. So that empowered me as a young woman. And from that moment on, this is something I've always done on the side of my desk. on the
What a
side.
beautiful story. I could so relate to that because a lot of times, especially when you worked in a certain career for many years, it is so easy to just attach your identity to that. And, when you come out of that or something happens and you are no longer defined by that, then you kind of you're lost your value because you received your value from your career. But women, we all have to understand that we're more than that. We're human beings, first of all, and we have untapped unimaginable potential inside of us. But I love how we kind of just put ourselves into that bubble or small, those limits within that, so that we kind of just limit our potential and limit our opportunities as we tell ourselves that. I love that story that you shared because I've seen it also through my journey. I also worked for corporation for many years, and that's kind of the journey how that started. So I love that the work you are doing in empowering women to kind of go beyond that and look within, and start defying and crafting their own path and be their own trailblazers, and not to follow whatever society or how a position in a job actually defines you, and to kind of go into the route of maybe entrepreneurship. That's how most of us start this journey, right? Because we want to discover what is it that we are made of, and this is the best journey because you're always learning and growing, and there's no limit to what you can actually do. So, Yannick, let's start with some of the clients, that they come to you. What is some of the main pain points? What kind of crossroads are they into? What are they feeling? How are they struggling?
It's funny, when I first started, because I have an HR background as well. So I went, the old fashioned way. Oh, I'm a specialist in HR and education. I have this and that qualification. So I pinned myself as a life and career coaching. However, when I got my clients, started to receive them, they reach out to me. They would come for something. And as I coached them, realized this is, yeah, maybe this, but they needed that. So what I find the pain points are, and when you do the goal setting, what are your goals? Most of the time is that I don't know. I just know I don't want this anymore. And help me with this. So that's the part that I love because I go through an exercise with them and read, and I write a life script from what they tell me. And they have an aha moment. I didn't know this. It's fantastic. I say, those are your words. This is inside of you. This is what you unleashed. So the main pain point is that they don't like where they are anymore. They're not sure where they want to go. They are not sure what they have to offer.
Mm.
And what I've had one person who was my first client. All she knew is that she was not happy at her work, but didn't know what she could do. She was limited. Well, that's all I've been doing for all these years. I said, okay, but doing that job, what have you done? What kind of task have you done? And she didn't realize what she had been doing. So we've gone through that. Then we went back. What interests you? What lights your fire? What is one of your passion? And we went through all this, and it was a self-discovery. They had forgotten who they were. That is another pain point. They are lost their sense of identity. So that's something I give that they retrieve. And also the projection of where they want to go and what they want to be and where they want to go. The how comes after, but you have to be clear. What I want them to be clear is, who do you want to be and where do you want to be? The how will come after. These 2 points have to be clear in your mind. And it's so empowering for them. Once they get that, you can see the fire, and then the rest goes. And so far, every single one that I've worked with, um, one was not right away, but the first client, she changed fields, and something she had never considered. And interestingly enough, somebody approached her with the position because they saw something in her that she didn't know. However, she was ready for that. Hadn't been before, she would have gone, no, 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 no. But no, not only did she go to the interview, but she knew her worth. That was one thing she was lacking. She knew her worth and was not afraid to let them know what the compensation she was expecting for her work.
I love that's big. That is so big because I've also worked with so many women that I started, well, I transitioned out to business strategy a couple of years down the line, but I did a lot of career coaching because I've also my background in HR and executive coaching. And that's exactly what I've noticed with women that they had so many amazing skills and experience, but they didn't understand how to articulate those because articulating it is also important, right? And really understanding what is it that they brought to the table, and really staying confident about that and delivering on that. A lot of us shy away from that because of our noise and our limits and our programming and all of that, but really owning that power. Most of us were not raised. I'm natively Albanian, and we were not raised with praise. It was always like, you can do it better, a lot of criticizing. So a lot of us are afraid to even stand in our own power once we discover that, because we're like, "Oh, that will be make me intimidating, or I might sound cocky, or I might just kind of lean, what's the word, circle out myself from maybe people that they've been hanging around from." So that's a scary process for most people. So I think that's really a lot in there. What is your perspective on that, Yannick?
Well, we have similar background of how we were raised, and with me it was always seeking perfection. Nowhere, okay, this is what you should be doing, and you be the best. And if anything was not perfect, that was highlighted. You could do better. You should have done this. So I had to let go of that, and also empower women to let go of that. You be you. The first thing is know who you are. You are enough, and you're wonderful. There's only one of you. Nobody else is like you. And cherish that. This is the most important thing that I want them to understand. There's only one of you. Don't compare yourself to others. All you can do is compare yourself to what you did before and strive to where you want to go. But it's a very difficult thing to do. I focus on women. I work with men too, but because of my journey and what I've seen, especially when I worked in HR.
At this point, we would have a 5-minute commercial break, guys. If you let me know in the chat, how are you actually enjoying the interview, and some of your key takeaways as we get Yannick back. This is
Um,
live. Life happens.
I thought I put it on do not disturb. But what I find is that we identify, like you mentioned, with our position, what's on our resume, and forget what else we have and what else you can add to it. It's you're more than what's on your paper, piece of paper that you hold, or the position that you're in. And that's one thing that's very hard to let go when I work, because they have identified themselves to what they're doing, their occupation. This is one part of you. You have so many facets, and this is one thing that we're not taught when we're going to school as well.
Yeah,
You are
absolutely.
taught you are taught you get this degree, you have to take this course, and then this is your career path. I was a career coach. I was in HR, and it was going through this step, what's your action plan for the 5, 10 years, but we never incorporated these facets when I worked in HR. And often I would see women, especially who had the potential for a position, I could see it. However, because of what was on the paper, they would not be considered, they would be screened out. So that's one thing I'm teaching as well. What you have to offer doesn't have to be linked to what you do for a living.
Mm,
You should
that's a big
still
one.
identify it.
Because I think that's actually the approach that I think more companies are changing right now with the way that they do succession planning, is to be very professional, like 5-year goals, 10-year goals, but very professional oriented. And a lot of the things that bother us or block us are personal. So marrying the two is really, really important. At least that's what I found. And I've personally found that there's no professional development unless you personally grow, right? Whatever that is, in business or in a career, working for another company, it does not matter, because you're bringing yourself to all these opportunities. So obviously we have to learn how to personally grow ourselves. So I love the work that you are meshing from your experience throughout the journey that you've had in helping women find their authentic power and redefine, some of their own journeys and the way that they want to do that. So it's really, really powerful stuff. Yanick, how is it that I know you mentioned, so what can we tell women? So I know you mentioned at the beginning the clarifying process. What I personally call clarifying your vision and mission. Personal vision and mission is where everything begins. You need to know what you want and why you want it first, and then of course discover the how along the journey. So once we have that down packed, we have that clarity. What else do you help women with? What are some of the other steps that you could share with us that might give value to the audience over what else can we start doing?
The big thing is to change your mindset. The
Mm.
mindset is crucial, and your limiting beliefs. And we're all subject to that, even me. And I know I have to catch myself, when those limiting beliefs creep up or my mindset could be negative, because that is a showstopper. We are what we think about. So you have to be mindful of what you're thinking and the words that you use, especially when you describe yourself or your capabilities. We have to be very mindful of that. So that's one thing I work as well with my clients. And as we go along, they catch themselves. I had one not long ago who said, you talked about the mindset. She said, and she's an executive. I was always like ready for counterattack A, B, C, D, instead of just being receptive to what they were saying. I said, no, just observe and be a receptacle, a vessel, and with curiosity, just be open without judgment. There was a question of mindset, and she came to me after a meeting and told me how powerful that was for her. First of all, she was not having so much angst and so stressed trying to see what's the next step, more listening, receptive to what the person had to offer. And it was almost a relief. Oh, they were offering that there was no perception of what they would say. She was receptive. And from that point on, it really helped with relationships. That's something she had not realized she was doing to herself until we worked on the mindset. And she practiced this, realized just be open to what the other party has to have and don't be judgmental right off the bat. Be more receptive than reactive. So that's another big thing, because I think we are very ready, always ready to answer, and not really capturing what is being told to us. We're getting ready to give the answer. So that's part of the mindset being that for her. That's one thing that we worked on. So mindset, and also appreciating yourself. We seem, especially women, we do not value what we have to offer as much as we should. And I think it comes maybe from background, you have to be humble. You don't want to be boisterous. And I said, no, you are who you are, and you have a lot to offer, and people should know that. And another thing I like to do, we talked about the power pose. Uh, before going to a meeting or something that's difficult, I said, myself, I see myself as Wonder Woman. See yourself as Wonder Woman, because you have so much to offer, and be proud. Because if you don't let people know what you have to offer, it is a disservice as well to them and to you,
Yeah.
because that is your riches, you know?
Great, great, great tips. I love the pose is so important because again, it's the confidence that you portray before you actually go into the world and do the things that you're doing, because that's how we are, wiring ourselves in a way. And what we tell ourselves is really important, and how we actually think of ourselves is going to project out in the world, right? So we now know that, and we have that awareness. And mindset wise, I love what you said with the communication, as far as, listen to, seek to understand, as they say, right? Don't listen to respond back to something, because we're completely missing the point of what the other person is doing. And as coaches, I think we train ourselves through this, right? Because we do have to hold the space for our clients, so that they can explore all this for themselves. But it's important also, to anywhere we're going, to be very curious and inquisitive. That's why I call everything conscious entrepreneurship, because in order to be a purpose-driven entrepreneur, you have to pick up the clues from your environment, from your conversations you're having, so that you go in and tap into your own inner intuition to what might be the next step. And if we have that guard up, then obviously we're missing a lot of information that we would need to really apply for that next step. So it's really, really important things that you mentioned there, Yanick, with the mindset. And it's a process. I feel like we need to talk more about this in the coaching industry, because there's a lot of misinformation over overnight results. And honestly, I don't think this is doing any favor to anybody, with as far as what results your clients will have. The journey to transformation is a process. We all are going through our own processes. We have more awareness. We've put more work into it, but does not mean that that stops. Just like you said, you have to catch yourself. I have to catch myself. This is not something that you are just, hire a coach and then you're like, okay, I'm cured. Everything is great. I'm done. It's a lifelong process, right? So we have to really understand that, because I also help people grow their business. And a lot of time entrepreneurs come in with that, how much money can I make? How many new clients can I get? Hold on. We have to go through the process of business building, right? Just like you have to go through the process of empowering women to discover what they want and all of that. That does not happen overnight. Sometimes you take 5 steps back and 3 steps forward. That's why you have to go with the flow, and you have to really go with that process. The value of coaches is, obviously, we've been there, done that. We have our experience and our clients' experience, and we have developed a pathwork or a framework that obviously you could follow to do it a little bit faster. But that does not mean that you are not going to go through your own journey of process and transformation. I feel like, because you're also a transformational coach, Yanick, I feel like we should talk more about this, because, that's why we don't have a lot of, we just have a lot of people that just want to do it fast, but fast is never going to lead you anywhere that you think you're going to get something done fast is going to go away as fast as you received it. But if you put yourself through it, you have the habits, you have the skills, you have the programming. You can keep that for life. It's an investment you make in you.
It's so funny you should say that, programming of reprogramming the brain, okay, as well. And then habits, it becomes a habit. Otherwise, if it goes fast, you don't have time to ingrain it in yourself. And you talked about transformation, and it doesn't happen overnight. There's no quick fix. One of my clients, she came with 2 goals, she thought. And as we went through the process, she emerged differently than she thought she would be in me. It was like, I said, you know what? We need to redo the exercise we did at the beginning, because you have transformed, but in a different direction. But this is where you need to be. She said, it's funny, I was going to ask you that. I said, now we have to revisit. And we did the questionnaire, the drill down. It's quite an introspective exercise that we go through. And from that, I write the life script that I read to them. And after that, I give it to them to read them 10 times and record it morning and evening, because you are what you think about. Those words are theirs. Anyway, so last week I gave her the new life script. She went, oh my goodness, I had no idea this is where I was. And this is where I want to go now. I said, the person I met 5 months ago is not the person you are now. She said, not at all. I said, that's the transformation because you have transformed. Okay, from this point on, where do you want to go? And it's very exciting for her, but for me as a coach to see, okay, I delivered what she came for and more, but not knowing which course it was going to take, which direction. But it was the right direction because this is where she needs to be. She is happy and looking forward to the next step. She sees that she's growing. She said, okay, I'm ready for more of the good stuff, quote unquote.
Mm.
That
Thank
is
you for
full.
receiving. Yeah. That is so, so powerful. And I say it all the time, even as business people grow their businesses, entrepreneurs grow their businesses. The message that you have now and your offer that you are offering now might not be where you end up after, a couple of months or even a year or so, because you are transforming, you are finding your authentic power, you're building a business aligned to you, and it's okay to keep evolving your audience, your messaging is normal. You don't want to keep doing the same thing that you did a year ago, but you do have to stick to your branding, as I always say, to the one thing that you are very passionate about and that you do really well, that adds the most value in the marketplace. That never changes, but the process, it's always ever evolving. So I love that we are able to touch upon this topic of transformation and process orientation, and also through your work, Yannick. So thank you so much for everything you shared. We've actually reached the end of our interview. I try to keep these very short. I'm sure each one of these topics you can dive into. And that's really, maybe we'll have you back in another show, Yannick, and we can talk a little bit more regarding some of these things in depth. But for the purpose of this first interview, I want to thank you for everything you shared. And also, I usually ask my guests at the end, what is that mission that you're trying to build or that you feel called to serve the world with through your work?
My mission is to empower women to be the women they're destined to be, to have them find their purpose and their passion to be all that they can be.
Wow, beautiful. Thanks so much for sharing that. And again, where is it that people can continue the journey with you? Where is it they can find you?
Well, easily, I have a Facebook group called Empowering Women at a Crossroad to a Path of Fulfillment. And actually, tomorrow I will be having a live in my group. So join my group, and it will be Ask the Coach Anything. And the topic tomorrow is mindset. So,
Oh,
yeah.
really cool. Really cool topic. So, guys, join the community for sure. If you really resonated with the message and what Yannick is always about, I always find that even with entrepreneurship, we all resonate with different things and we all align with different values. So, if you found value from the conversation, definitely go and check out our community, and vice versa. You can share this community with that community, because I think, again, collaboration is the new way that we need to be moving forward, because we realize that there's abundance in the universe and we all bring such a unique spin to the table. And the more we work on our authentic power, the more we can all shine and make an impact. I think at the end of the day, the common goal is always the same. So thanks so much, Yannick, for everything that you shared. And guys, you'll find this show as a podcast for those of you that love to plug in your earplugs and go do other chores or tasks throughout the day. And you'll find it everywhere podcasts are available, on Apple, iTunes, Spotify, and all of that. Thank you so much for watching our show today. And I will be seeing you on our next show with another amazing guest. Bye for now.
Thank
Thanks
you
so
for having me.